What is up, Honey Badger Nation? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Expert Mentors Live. My camera just went way weird. Hold on a second, Cindy. See if I can. Oh, come. Maybe not. All right, we'll see. We'll figure it out. What's up? How are you?
Hey, I'm great. It's just such a pleasure to be here, John. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. And third go around here on Expert Mentors. I know we've had you on a couple other conversations. Definitely one of my most favorite human beings on the planet, and so I'm really excited to really dive in. But I'm going to fix this camera because it's going to drive me bananas if we don't. Oh, geez. All right. Maybe not. Anyways, we'll have to deal with it. So, Cindy, one of the things that kind of prompted me to want to dive back in with you was kind of a conversation you and I had maybe a month and a half ago. And it was really around, the whole NAR situation. And you hit me with the question. It made me kind of, step back for a second, kind of think about it. But you said, do you know what NAR does for you, what NAR does for us as real estate agents? And, my immediate response was, well, they got 1.5 million agents that are paying, X number of dollars a month. They got a lot of money, but what are they doing? Right. Mm-hmm. What are they doing? And so, I would love for you to just kind of kick us off here and really kind of unpack the NAR understanding at a deep level. And, kind of, you had to go down the rabbit hole as well for some things that you were doing to get real clear on it. And I was blown away at, kind of the information and the things that you were sharing.
Exactly. John, back when they announced the lawsuit and what was happening, and, we knew that we needed to educate our agents, and we started educating our agents plus all the agents in our area. We hosted so many different classes to get people ready for the NAR, the changes that were going on. But more than anything, I gave a talk to a group of appraisers that wanted to know about the NAR settlement and what had happened there. So NAR, when I started digging into NAR, what exactly NAR does, a little bit of the statistics for NAR, as an agent, we pay $135 a year to be part of NAR. It's not that much. And we are able to use that realtor symbol, say that we are a realtor. And that's really nice. NAR's been around a long time, but the lobbying part of NAR, I think people don't realize. I hear on Facebook and Instagram where people are talking about, oh, I want to be rid of NAR. I don't want to be part of NAR. Well, NAR is the second largest lobbying group there is, up next to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Second largest. Like in 2022, they spent $81.7 million lobbying for rights for homeowners, rights for agents, rights to have our commissions not taxed even more, not to have our homeowners, homestead exemptions go away. The 1031 exchange. I was talking to a guy recently that said, if NAR goes away, the first thing that's going to go away is the 1031 exchange. We don't want that to happen. And they're down lobbying constantly for those rights. And so people, I think, really need to think twice about their little $135 a year that they're paying. Is it worth it? Yeah. Is it worth it when you go on a listing and you look at your seller and you say you are a realtor and you're part of one of the largest lobbying groups there is for home ownership rights? Right. So people may disagree with me, but I'll tell you, I have done a lot of studying for the little bit of money that we pay for NAR. It is definitely well worth the investment. Back in the first quarter of this year, they spent $14.7 million the first quarter of the year lobbying for rights.
And what were some of the key things, because they're trying to hit, I know you're saying 1031, but there's some other things that they're trying to make go away that like would change overnight if NAR disappeared.
Exactly. There is a list of those items. You can go to the NAR website, print them off. There's about 23 different items the last time I looked that they are lobbying hard to keep. So guys, think about it. Go to NAR, take a look at their website, take a look at what they're lobbying for. And I think that you're going to realize that you don't want to see NAR go away. I
Right.
flippantly people want to say on Facebook, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of NAR." I think you really need to rethink that.
What would be the drastic change, for us as agents if NAR wasn't there fighting for us?
The drastic change I think would be the MLS. Right now we have to be a part of NAR to when we join and be a realtor. Our MLS, our board is requiring us to be a part of NAR. Okay, that's the major change. Okay, we do away with NAR. We don't get to use the realtor symbol anymore. We're just like everybody else. The lobbying group goes away. I think from an agent perspective that we won't see a lot of change as an agent. We're going to still sell real estate, but the homeowners will suffer.
Yeah.
The homeowner will suffer in taxes. The homeowner, the agents will suffer. How would you like to be taxed even more on your commissions?
Right.
How would you like to have a sales tax put on your home? How would you like to have additional taxes every time you bought and sold a home?
Yeah.
I
I think
mean,
taxes would be the big thing. And then, like talking, listening to Leo talk, listening to Jay talk about, Puerto Rico, talking to, my guys, Rodolfo and Nuno over in Portugal, but just talking about like, outside of the US and probably Canada, how like the wild, wild west when it comes to real estate, right? Like there's no way to get all of the information. There's no way to really know what is available, right? To where you can even run, even comparable data, comparable sales, right? Where to price, where to position homes. And, I just listening to, Jay talk about frustrations of just finding information and you get one bit of information from this person and this person. And it's such it's a pain in the ass really is what it is. And it's frustrating for, buyers. It's frustrating for sellers. And even as an agent, not even being able to do the best job possible just for a lack of information. And there's a lot of, holding close to the vest instead of, the data being readily available.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. I think the changes that have come about because of the lawsuit is making it be a little bit more of the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
As we're selling property, having to call a listing agent and saying, "Hey, are you going to pay a fee or not?
Yeah.
Is the seller going to pay a fee?" I think EXP got ahead of that, and what EXP is doing, other companies are following suit now with having it come through the seller versus broker to broker. Smartest thing I think they could have ever done.
Yeah.
And I think people are getting on board.
Yeah.
I do feel like having to call a listing agent and be at the mercy of whether they're going to pay or not. It takes the negotiations ability away from an agent to properly represent a buyer. But at the same time, we're seeing buyers that are paying the fees now.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think we were going to see that, but we are seeing it where buyers are paying their agents or paying a portion of it.
Right. And, I think, back to, and you and I talked about this, from a negotiation standpoint, how, one of the skills to focus on and develop is really the negotiation abilities. And I think you're starting to see that. And those that are confident in their negotiation abilities, getting the buyer to pay a little bit of it. They're getting the seller to pay a little bit of it. They're getting it in. They're getting compensated. And I think the really true professionals are starting to see a pay raise.
I agree.
A lot of markets that
I agree.
That are not accustomed to paying, a 3 or whatever it was. I know for us, where my first kind of like, man, that's weird, was when we were in Lawton and we bled into the Duncan, Marlowe, different county market. And it was just standard practice that 2.4 is what they co-broke. It was just how it was, everybody listed for 6, co-broke 2.4, kept the rest. But I think what you're starting to see, those that can negotiate, know their value, articulate value, provide real value, are being able to get a pay raise.
It's one thing to explain it to the buyer, but it's another to explain it to the seller when you're doing a listing. When we were going out on listing appointments right after the lawsuit had occurred, people had watched the news and they would say, oh, we don't have to pay the other agent now. I'm about to close on a deal. We've actually put it under contract yesterday that the people actually thought they were not going to have to pay a buyer's agent. And somebody had told them that. And so, and I explained to him, I said, you're going to cut down on the amount of showings if you don't pay and offer what, I wouldn't say the going rate, but what is customary in our area. And so after talking to them about that, I mean, they did agree to offer the compensation. I would hate to have a listing where there is no compensation for the buyer's agent. And in our office, we across the board are absolutely having the seller compensate the buyer's agent still at what we say at a good rate. Yeah. Matter of fact, some of them are putting bonuses in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to come back to the whole understanding compensation drives behavior, right? Mm-hmm. You want to say, you know, no, I'm not going to do that, whatever. Like, here's the reality, right? Like if a buyer still maintains some type of control of the process and being able to help navigate the situation, if they're not skilled and know how to articulate value or provide any value at all, and, you know, the seller, there's zero way for them to get compensated. Steer is the bad word, but they're going to steer them in a different direction to where they can get compensated, because I promise you, they ain't going to work many deals and not get compensated. They're going to be out of the game. They're going to be moving on to something else. So I think it's really important to remember, you know, we want to maximize our sellers, you know, unlock all of the potential opportunity that they have to be able to get the best offer possible. And when you don't offer any compensation, or you want to be off market, like that's the wildest thing for me. And I see it a lot on the luxury side of things, on the higher end side of things, is to where these sellers are like, you know, I don't want it marketed on, you know, I don't want it out to the masses. I want to kind of keep it. But if you find somebody, right, you know, will be able to pay this price, then I'd be able to take it. And I always go, you ain't motivated. Mm-hmm. If you were motivated, you would do everything possible to expose your property to the most amount of people. And, you know, when you're not willing to compensate, you know, another agent that is working with a potential buyer, they're going to steer away from, you know, your property, which then limits, you know, the most amount of potential buyers for your property.
Absolutely. You know, when this first occurred, when you would call a listing agent and ask if they were paying a buyer's agent compensation, they would say, put it in the offer. And I know Leo had told EXP agents to say, put it in the offer. Well, I felt like I don't know if it's just our area or across the nation, this was this way. We weren't ready for that. Right. We needed to know. And since then, there's been lawyers that have said you owe it to your buyer before you go show a house to know what that compensation is, because the buyer can make that decision to whether look at that house or not if the compensation is not there.
That's interesting that you said that. And just so my mind goes, you know, just you know, Tyler, it's a tight knit community, mm-hmm. you know, makes me think too, like, you know, I think in Lawton where, you know, you've got 300 people, 300 licensed agents, and I think 28 actually sell houses. But like, you wouldn't want to be the person that didn't do that, right? You wouldn't want that reputation mm-hmm. in the marketplace. I can see it in a small town. And is that kind of what you guys were feeling in Tyler?
We definitely were feeling that in the beginning. Matter of fact, one of our trainers here was telling agents that this is what you should do. Tell them to put it in the offer. And what was happening is that people weren't showing. People just said, okay, we're not going to show it. And would just tell them the buyer doesn't want to see a home that we don't know what the compensation is, or if they're not willing. And let's just say this, they're not doing that anymore.
Right.
They're telling upfront what it is. I think they saw that was not going to work, and it's not working. We don't call people anymore and they say, put it in the offer. They say upfront, this is what we're paying. Yeah. Because right now we are, as a listing agent, we want people to come show our property.
100%.
We do not want to hold them back at all.
Zero resistance, especially
Exactly.
as homes are starting to sit on the market a little bit longer. I could see if we were
Absolutely.
2-3 years ago where things were flying off the shelf, then I think you could be you could get away with that. I see it with Leanne here in Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh as well. So I see that with her in the that just the conversations, right? That community of agents where they're reaching out, they're talking to each other. I Cindi, I guess I default back to the negotiation side of things, in that I want to know as much damn information as I possibly can, because that's going to help me on my negotiation side of things. If I know more info, if you just tell me everything, then I know how to be. I mean, I got you
Yeah.
from a negotiation standpoint.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's where I've always defaulted to, right? And I hear what Leo was saying, I hear what Kendall was saying, but in my mind, I'm like, man, from a negotiation standpoint, I want to know as much information as I can, because that helps me win, and helps me win for the client if the more I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we are finding that. Again, we started out one way, put it in the offer. Now we're upfront disclosing completely, this is what we're paying.
Yeah. And I think it's, you start having those conversations. I think that also starts to build a little bit of, connections and deepening of relationship within the real estate agent, community.
Oh, there's no question. I think that it has brought the community, the realtor community in our area together.
That's awesome. So Cindi, kind of, what we're talking about, I know kind of unlocking, success and real estate success. And I really wanted to kind of open up the conversation with you, kind of what you had kind of sparked why, hey, we got to get Cindi back on, was around NAR. And I think that understanding what they're doing, what they're fighting for, what they're allowing, the game not to completely change overnight, because that's the way, when we first had the talk, that's what I felt, as if, the game is changing. It's changed since August, or leading up until August. It's the game's starting to change a little bit, but I think without NAR, the game would change completely overnight. And that wouldn't be good. And so, understanding the game that we have and navigating it, moving into 25, here we are, the home stretch here in the fourth quarter. Where are you seeing, you've got to be positioning, you've got to be thinking about these things. You need to be, really positioning yourself and your business for real success, for longevity, moving into the new year. Where should agents be thinking about, where the real success is moving into the future?
I really believe, Karen Richards came to our office last week and talked. She gave a great talk about basically going back to basics, and not exactly. Are we talking like internet leads, knocking doors? Not sure if that's the avenue. It's about relationships, digging into these relationships, people, referring people, your circle of influence. That's where our industry is. John, I keep trying to get away from thinking that there's another way of doing business. Ever since I've met you guys have just been really tech people. And I remember standing on stage at one of your events talking about circle of influence and us feeding people. And we have a full-time chef that works for us. We feed people and they come, and then our business just grows.
Yeah.
Instead, we bought funnels this year. I think I bought 4 different funnels, and we're trying to run that. I hired an ISA.
You've done it all.
It does not do the business that a relationship does. The relationship business is huge. And I don't know if it's the size of town we're in. We're in a little over 100,000 people, but I'm telling you, these relationships are golden in our area. It's not the funnels for us. It's not the internet leads, the manpower it takes to keep up with an internet lead and to keep calling them. And I think it's 18 months on average to convert an internet lead that's from a funnel or something. I don't know about you. I just don't have the time to dive into that. I will tell you, I do a farm area, a geo farm area, and I know that some people may not want to do this. And I've done this farm area for years. We've mailed to it. We take care of these people. But the last 12 months, $13 million worth of sales in that one area.
Yeah.
from that farm area.
You and Andrew Gaydosh do the best job that I know when it comes to really a geo farming area. And he's the same as you, right? The one fundamental thing that comes back to where the success is, it's the investment of time and building relationships in that geographical area. And
Absolutely.
I think Cindi, it's because it's not sexy, it's not now, it's not AI, it's not cutting edge, it's not, you mean I actually got to get out and build relationships and spend time and talk to people? That's what it takes. Yes.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is you can build these relationships with people. Yes, you do have to talk to them, and yes, you do have to host events, and you do drop things at their door. You have to let them know you care. You're the one in the neighborhood. But I mean, I bought a moving truck. It's been parked down the street from our high rise for the last 4 years. And I leave the key at the front desk at the high rise, and people check that truck in and out constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, they bring it back full of gas. That's one of our marketing pillars. People call up and ask to use the truck.
It's the best marketing thing that we ever had.
They know the keys at the front desk. Hey, Cindi, I'm going to use your truck today.
It's the best. It's the best. Like, I don't understand why everybody doesn't have a moving truck. It's a mobile billboard. You talk about connections and building relationships, because clients use it, but we found like the people in the community used it more than the actual clients used it. And clients use it all the time, but like, hey, we need this. Hey, we're getting a fundraiser for this. Hey, we're getting, donations for this. Can we use the truck for this? Absolutely. You can.
Yeah. We have an organization that our agents belong to that use it for the senior box program, where they deliver boxes of food to people, and they use it twice a month, I believe, for that. And so we're so far into the community because of that. Moving truck is always moving around town. Like you said, it's a rolling billboard, but just things like that. But building those relationships, being part of a country club and being part of your neighborhood, having the Facebook page and having the emails that go out that put you above everybody. You're not going to get every listing in the neighborhood, but you're going to get a lot of them if you just tap into the people.
And it goes, I know it's a little bit of it takes time to build a lot of that. So what do you coach, your agents? I mean, you've got a bunch of agents, and that don't quite have those relationships yet. So like, what are you coaching them on and telling them, I see, from a priority standpoint, Cindi, my head always goes to, we need to be doing something that's going to impact the P&L, and we need to be doing something that's going to impact the balance sheet. And, building the geographical farm area, digging deep, building relationships. To me, that's the balance. Those are assets, right? We're building assets that goes on the balance sheet. But what are you kind of coaching and teaching agents on to impact the P&L? Like, what do they need to be doing, if they need something, now, some more now business instead of, the assets into the future?
Well, what we do when people come to work here, they have to put together their 100 list of people, names, and then start that email database drip on them. Open houses. I mean, I know that's old school, but you can get in front of people with open houses. Doing a good open house. I mean, you can put lots of signs out. You could door knock the area around it, send the emails around it. And so we do a lot of open houses. I think we probably have 6 or 8 of them going on this weekend. Yeah. And so that's where our agents, for 2 hours on Sunday from 2 to 4, they pick up clients in those open houses as they're working their circle of influence. And so that's where our business starts. And the follow-up is huge on the open houses. You put them in the database and you call them every Monday. And that's where our people are getting their business right now. With this buyer's rep, the way it is, people do not want to sign a buyer's rep agreement generally with an agent that they don't know. And so because the houses are open, they get to come in and take a look at them. Our open house attendance is up because of the buyer's rep and the NAR changes.
And, my take, is an event, right? An open house is an event. You need to treat it like an event, and then you invite people to the event. And so is that kind of where you're talking about? You're doing the open houses. Hey, anybody you're working with or whatever, invite them to come out, invite them to meet them instead of, hey, just signing up here. Hey, come out to the open house. Let's have a chance to chat. Absolutely.
Yeah. We really market the open houses. We do email blasts for them. their own Zillow, their own realtor.com as open houses. And yes, agents are telling people about it, and we post it all over social media. And we do have good turnouts for open houses now.
Cindi, you said something that is so key, right? And we hear it all the time, right? Fortunate is in the follow-up. And even we know this to be fundamental, that, we struggle with it, especially a lot of real estate agents that are more, project-based, meaning they need to get the deal to close. They're not really more process-oriented people, right? That need a start, a middle, a finish. And so how do you help them with the follow-up? I mean, we're talking about back to the basics. So, even in follow-up, like what are some, like, hey, make sure you have X, Y, and Z, then you can expand upon it. But like, how are you coaching them through? Because to me, this is like the true pillar of success is in that follow-up. I mean, Cardone talks about it all the time, right? You got to have 8, 10, 13, 15 touches before somebody actually will move forward with you. So how are you guys setting up that? How are you coaching them through to have a great follow-up process?
Well, number one, all the leads go into KV Core when they get through with the open houses, and they start on drip campaign, and then they follow up with a phone call on Mondays until we figure out if they're going to buy or not, or if they're going to refer somebody to you. And so our community is pretty small. We find some of the same people that go to the open houses will attend another open house. And then you'll do another open house 3 months from now, the same people are still attending those open houses. And so you build relationships that way with the people in certain price ranges. So, but we're coaching people we're mailing to them, and we're calling them, and we're putting them into an email drip campaign.
Oh, I love that. What are you actually physically mailing?
A postcard. We're mailing postcards, just a postcard about our company. It's got our agent brand on it. We mail out postcards for our agents every month.
I love that. Was there a particular call to action on there for them?
Yeah, we are still hosting buyer seminars in our office as well. I will tell you, we have one of the best lenders, and I tell everybody this is the best lender in the whole wide world. You've got to at least call her once, even if you have another lender. She's got a rate rebound program that if you buy a house right now, at any time over the next 5 years, as many times as you want to, you can refinance, and they pay for the refinance.
Really?
I mean,
I love that.
you wouldn't believe how many people I have switched to this lender. Now, this lender partners really closely with us. She's at our open houses. I think these relationships are so important right now to pull out. Get your best lender, get your best home warranty person. Our home warranty girls at a lot of our open houses as well. The key to home warranties is making sure they cover 100% of the ACs. So many of these home warranties cover $1,500, $2,500, and you don't know that until you start to use it. Yeah. You've got to find a home warranty that covers 100% of the ACs.
Yeah. You in Texas, you need that AC.
Yeah, absolutely we do.
So no, I think those are just incredible little nuggets right there, right? Anybody listening in, talk to your lender, say, hey, can we get just, within a time frame, rate refi for nothing. So, I mean, that's a heck of a hook, or it's a heck of an offer. Why you would even let me talk to you. Even if I pay a little bit more over here, I mean, I still have the option to refi. I love that little nugget there. And I think you just got to be market specific, right? So, here in the Northeast area, it's going to be like, make sure you got the dang furnace covered 100%, right? AC as well, just when you need it. But no, knowing there and being able to provide that's real value, right? So that's a value, being able to talk to a buyer about, your value proposition. Our value proposition is you work with our lender, you get X, Y, Z. I think everybody should have the love it or leave it program, within the next 12 months. If you don't love your home for any reason at all and you want to sell it, we'll sell it. We won't charge you a listing commission. I think you should have, like you said, with the home warranty, making sure that that's covered. So these are all value stacking your offer. And that's the key to success. I mean, really being able to have a value proposition to the clients in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you take care of people and don't treat this as a transactional business, you actually take care of the people. You check on them. You send them postcards. You send them emails. There was a guy the other day that says, Cindi, I bought a house from you 15 years ago, and I'm still getting emails from you. Always get something from you.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And so you just, you got to stay in touch with people. I
You
think
talked
that,
about staying in touch with people. You talked about, having the additional, value add, and it's really all about creating, we want to create advocates, right? So advocates are really kind of by definition somebody that will give you a review and a testimonial, right? If you're doing net promoter score, they're going to give you a 10 on the net promoter score. They're an advocate for you. That next phase is moving them into a promoter. And, I know you call them raving fans. That's what we call it. We call them raving fans in the real estate. I call, on the coaching side, we're trying to create legends. And the raving fans are the people that will stop traffic. If they're out having dinner and they hear somebody talking about real estate, they'll be, whoa, hey, you guys, if you don't call Cindi, like, you're doing yourself a disservice. That's we're trying to create an army of those raving fans. And so how are you, through the being able to have the moving van, being able to, stay in touch with them, the value add, is there anything else that you're doing to kind of prompt them to want to shout from the rooftops, to send people your way?
Yeah, I want to say this too. I think a lot of people get in this business thinking that there's a quick, easy way to make money. It's not. It's a hard business to be in. You need to be in it at least 5 years before you see a lot of duplication in it and repeat business. And so if you can hang on, I have agents that come through here that think that they should hit it big in 3 or 4 months. And if they don't, they go away. And I'm thinking, we're not setting these realistic expectations for these people. You got to go hard 5 years in this business to really be a success in it, and then start having it duplicate. And it's all about taking care of people. That's all this is about. It's about taking care of the people. When I was on my way to do this podcast today with you, I had random lady called me on the phone and said, hey, I want you to come take a look at listing my house. And she was referred from an old real estate agent that never worked for me that called Cindi. She's the best. And it was because it was a higher end house. That niche market, you got to pick a niche market. And if it's luxury, she saw that I had something in the Cascades for $4 million. And she felt like that's what her property is going to be about, is in that price range. And they call you, they seek you out because of that.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out, what is that niche going to be in this business? Is it going to be new construction? Is it going to be luxury, high-end stuff? Don't just let it be anything and wander around in all price range.
Right.
Really specialize.
It is. It's more of a precision approach instead of a shotgun approach. And I'm of I would rather be a little higher end and then a little lower end, just for kind of understanding really, how the world works and kind of the behind the curtain initiatives that are happening. But the institutional investors, they ain't going after the high end stuff. And so, that game is open. Plus it's a higher, per transaction value, which is one of the 5 ways, one of the 6 ways to grow your business without doing more deals, is increase that price, that average transaction value. So we can increase, average sales price to be able to do that. But, back to the point of these clients for life, these raving fans, these advocates, these promoters, the reason, and I love what you said, because it is about that 5-year mark, right? 3 to 5 year mark, depending upon where you're at. If you're in a good team environment where you're getting fed a bunch of leads and you're able to transact at a higher level, I've seen it, but it's that 3 to 5 year window to where you start to get, a lot of, repeat or a lot of referral type business. The rule of thumb is that if you've got, 100 raving fans, let's say, that are advocates for you, promoters for you, you can, on a low end, if you're just proactively staying proactive, communicating, visible to them, you can figure about 10% of deals are going to come from those 100 people. So there's 10 deals every year right there with just being present. Just they see you on social, you run into them in the grocery store, you run into them at the country club. There's 10 deals, right? That is not a customer acquisition cost. You're not paying, $1,000, $1,500 a lead
Mhm.
for, for that. So it is a great reminder. And the truth is that, and this, you've been in the game a long time, is that anything worth building takes time. It
Mhm.
really does. And I think
Mhm.
if you're committed I think you've got to be I don't think there's any room in this game right now for those that are just interested. I think you've got to be really, truly committed.
100%. And I want to add to something is this business can be for people that are not extroverts. I'm very much of an introvert person. My DISC profile is an SC.
Mhm.
I'm not yellow at all. I don't have that influencer. I am not that person. Now, my adaptive one is high yellow, but
Yeah.
I function better very introvert.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that person that picks up the phone and calls people all the time or goes and knocks on their door. The way technology is, you can drip on people all the time
Mhm.
and they feel like they're talking to you. You can do videos. That doesn't mean you have to go one-on-one with people. And
Yeah.
so you can build a successful business without ever having to pick the phone up and cold call people. Because I will tell you, I've never done that. I have never cold called people
Yeah.
in this business, but I am everywhere. They see my videos, they see my postcards. They don't realize I'm such an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm not going to walk up to them usually in a restaurant and talk to them. I just don't do that.
Yeah.
And so, it's living proof. You can do this business and not be that person that is like, oh, all the time. You know what I mean? You see
Yeah.
them, you see those agents that are that way.
Right.
But this doesn't require it. It requires getting a system and working the system.
Yeah. It really does. And, really being intentional, like you said, building community, building relationships, giving your time to, worthy causes, being around the people that you really want to work with as well.
Yeah, that's another thing we can talk about. Nonprofits.
Yes. Very, very dear to your heart.
Whoa, we started a nonprofit several years ago, and it's an upscale and retail consignment place. And all of our proceeds go to animal.
You got to share this. This is such a great story. So share how this all came to be.
So we were selling people's homes, and everybody has seen this. They have a chair or a couch left over, and they don't know what to do with that. And the next thing you know, they've moved off and left the sofa in the house. How many times have you had that happen?
Yeah.
We all have. And so we loaded it up, and the next thing you know, we're actually putting it on Marketplace to sell it. And we sell it, and then we donate the money to charity. And the next thing you know, we started doing that. Before I knew it, I had a whole warehouse of stuff. And our local consignment store started helping us out because I had an assistant and she was running back and forth to the warehouse because she was running all these Facebook marketplace ads, and me having to meet people over there to pick up stuff. And we were a couple $1,000s a month before we knew it.
Yeah.
It's all going to our local animal rescue. And one day, the lady that was doing some of our consignment pieces for us in a consignment store says, I can't take any more of this stuff. You've got so much. And I said, no problem. I went down and rented a retail space and opened our own store. We were open within 30 days, packed the place out, and people just started bringing their stuff. They donate, they consign. We just recently moved to more square footage, put a retail side in it and consignment donate side. Very high end, beautiful place, beautiful antiques. People love. I can go down there and sit at a chair and watch my clientele base walk in and out that door. And my high-end clientele people are always in. I can go sit at that place and run into all of my clients, bringing stuff in and buying stuff.
Yeah.
It has been the best thing for our business.
Yeah. How cool. Right.
Now I don't do anything with it. Remember the lady that said she couldn't take any more of my consignment stuff? She's our manager. We hired her, and she runs the store. She's amazing. She's been in the business for 20 years, and she has taken over. So again, this is something I don't even have to touch.
You know, Cindi, just made me kind of think, right? So when we had the brokerage, we wanted everybody to be responsible for some type of revenue stream. So even our bookkeeper was responsible for the relationship with our vendors, right? Making sure that our vendors were happy, making sure they were taken care of, reminding them every month how many clients they help serve. So when they would contribute and, pay their invoice, they understood there was the value exchange. They knew what their invoice was for. And it was just a great relationship. So they were responsible for that revenue stream. So it just, like, as you were saying this, is like, who on your team, if you have an administrative person, could help with this, right? Could help on the consignment side of things. I mean, it could just spur a whole new revenue stream for you. Or in your situation, you turned it into a nonprofit. Then you're taking, all the proceeds back to something else that's very near and dear to your heart, to the animal rescue. And so it works, right? It's seeing things that's there, that's a need, and being able to turn it into this is true entrepreneurship.
Yeah, we have a golf tournament. We had 120 golfers at our last golf tournament for raising proceeds for the SPCA, not SPCA, but the WAGs. A lot of our money goes to different organizations like SPCA and spade neuter projects, Meals on Wheels. We have a dog food bank where people bring in dog food and we supply the dog food for the senior citizens. So we've tapped into a lot of different local organizations that need help in terms of pets.
And that's in really back to the whole, point of success into the future. It's all about relationships, and that's being so well connected in your community, all the influencers, and it really revolves around, sitting down and breaking bread together. Really, that's kind of, you look at, I always tell, your whole model is about bringing people together and having food and having conversations.
That's it. That is it. And it works beautifully.
It does. I've seen it in action. It is, it's pretty awesome what you've done. I mean, you definitely have the best office space that I've seen anywhere in the country. It's just incredible how you've designed it. And you designed it just in your whole core philosophy of bringing people together and let's have a meal and let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. We host networking events. We've got a networking breakfast here in the morning at 8:30. We're very excited about that. We teach a lot of CE classes. We bring all the brands together, and it truly has helped the growth of our company.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Really revolving around that. That's so exciting. Cindi, you're absolutely amazing, everything that you're doing. You guys listening in, if you're not paying attention, not following Cindi, get connected. She's all over social media, definitely all the events, the trainings, everything that they're doing, really showcasing it and intertwining, that with your actual, the business and the business side of things and selling a ton of real estate. And, the cool thing, with you, Cindi, is that you see opportunities and you're not go down and explore it. Right. We've done developments, the ranch project. I mean, you've done it all.
Oh, Airbnbs, short-term rentals. We're doing those right now. We have a property management division and dabbling in all kinds of different things right now. We're having a great time. I will tell you one thing. The book that Dan Martell wrote, Buy Back Your Time, has been instrumental in helping to kind of get things off your plate, hire out things that so that you can buy back your time.
I think it's probably the number one book to read for anybody right now as we're winding into the end of the year. I think there's a couple other. That one for sure on the business side of things. I think Bette David's book Choose Your Enemies Wisely is probably one of the best business books in a long time. I think too. I know Matt and DJ and their entire squad, they're reading, Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield, which is a must. I shared at the end of last year, Outwitting the Devil, Accurate Thought, not getting consumed up. So there's a lot of great reads mentally, business wise, but I would agree with you. If you can control and know how to allocate your time properly, you can do so much more. I mean, you're a living example of what you're able to do and accomplish.
Well, thank you, John. I'm so excited. I think that being in the business as long as I have, I'm actually to a point. I'm actually enjoying the business at this point. This
Yeah,
business is amazing to be in, and I tell people just stay in it long enough and build some systems around it, because it's all about building the systems around it.
it is.
And then you can it can change your life, but it can also change your family's life. My mother, I was able to retire her this last year. My husband plays golf a lot. And I mean, I feel like I'm not even working anymore. I mean, but I do produce a lot still, but I have so much help doing that, that it's actually a very enjoyable business. People talk to me about, are you still in production? Well, yes, I'm still in production. I don't know if I would, I,
Yeah.
I know it's sexy to go out of production and say you're just running this large team, but I can't ever see myself out of production.
No, and especially, the clientele that you have, the deals that just fall in your lap. I mean, they just, Cindy, tell us what to do. And
Mhm.
when you're the true expert and you've been able to position yourself that way, it's like you said. I mean, you just don't. I mean, you're in your flow, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's it's just so effortless, and that's where we try to all strive to be.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely, and it happens. Like I said, when you build the systems, it happens.
For sure.
Mhm.
Cindy, you're amazing. Thank you so much for jumping in. Always a pleasure. And like I said, guys, give Cindy lots of love. Follow her all over social, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, John.
Awesome. See you.